Thanks for joining us. We are here to talk about leadership and diversity. The purpose of this panel is to offer a discussion for students and community members to know that they can be leaders. Leaders are not born, they are made, and that leaders must learn to work with diverse populations and be inclusive and accepting of others' perspectives, which may be different from their own thought processes. Thus, it is important to know who you are and your values, but it is also important to know and understand the values of others and those you are working with. I am happy to have Dr. Tony Vizzini, Provost and Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs here at Wichita State University, and Dr. Natasha Stevens, Title IX Coordinator here at Wichita State University, and Dr. Elizabeth King, President and CEO of Wichita State University Foundation, and Dr. Marché Fleming Randle, Assistant to the President for Diversity and Senior Assistant Dean for the Fairmount College of Liberal Arts and Sciences here at Wichita State University. Now, we are going to ask the panelists a couple of questions about why it is so difficult to have leadership and diversity be a topic in our very changing world. So I'd like to open it up for a discussion, and I'd like to start with our Title IX coordinator, because I think that this would be a really important point to talk about what kinds of things we'd like to talk about here at Wichita State in terms of diversity, beginning with our Title IX coordinator, Dr. Natasha Stevens, so she could talk about her role and that important discussion of leadership and diversity when it comes to Title IX issues.
Yes, when it comes to Title IX, diversity is important, particularly with the gender equity component with Title IX, to ensure that we have equality for all of our students, regardless of gender, to make sure that we're providing services and we're providing adequate services for all students to participate in, to be able to receive appropriate scholarships and things of that nature equally across the campus, but then also to be able to give our students the opportunity to give us issues or concerns, to be able to speak to us about those as well across the board. So just being open, being accessible, and providing an equal opportunity for all our students.
Now, my other question for you is, why has Title IX emerged as an issue that has become to the forefront? We hadn't really been talking about Title IX. Title IX had become an athletic program kind of issue, but all of a sudden it seems to me that it's become more of an issue that has emerged lately.
Over time, yes, you're right that the focus has been on athletics. Most times when you ask folks, you say Title IX, they think athletics, equity, making sure there's an equal balance in opportunities for sports offerings, but it goes beyond that. It's making sure that there are equitable situations for all that are part of athletics, but also making sure those that are affected with sexual harassment, sexual violence, discrimination, gender inequities are provided an opportunity and space to provide those complaints, and then also to provide a fair and equitable way to resolve those issues, and then also to educate the institution about what is safe space, if you will, what that looks like, and making sure that we're in top tier, if you will, and making sure that we have all the appropriate resources for our students and faculty and staff.
And so why is it important for leaders to understand these issues?
It's important because it can affect your behavior. I always say knowing what is appropriate and what is not appropriate in the workplace, be it with students and or staff, regardless, the campus community, knowing your behavior is looked at. As a leader, folks are going to look to you for guidance, to role model, to walk the walk that you talk about. And you want to make sure that you're in line, you're ethical. You're ethical in your decisions to make sure that they are in the best interest of the institution. And so that's definitely important.
Very good. Okay, others?
Well, I think as my role as the Assistant to the President for Diversity, again, that brings in Title IX, that brings in Office of Diversity and Inclusion, the Tilford Commission. All of this is under one umbrella for us to try to make sure that Wichita State is viewed as a university that does recognize diversity. And when we talk about accountability and responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility to make sure that you do know about diversity and what does diversity and inclusion mean to the university. As I talked with Dr. Vizzini about being diverse on the campus as we sit, he understands that we need to make the student population look more diverse. How we do that? Enrollment, offering programs that rely on our students to be involved with diversity issues. But at Wichita State University, we're pushing forward to get to that point.
And that's because the goal of diversity isn't simply to have a diverse population. There's a benefit from a diverse population. If you only had one way of looking at a problem, you're going to only have one solution to that problem. That solution may not be the best solution. What you really want to have is that diversity of thought. And that comes from people from different backgrounds, different experiences, different outlooks, different views of the world, so that what you bring to the table and trying to strive for excellence is the best of all possibilities. Because only then do you really have the opportunity to have that equal opportunity, to have those excellence that we strive here at Wichita State. So one, it's good to be able to demonstrate to the world that we are welcoming of that diverse sense of thought. But most importantly, to have the opportunity to use that diverse thought to advance our mission as a university.
But once you're in a leadership position, how do you make that happen? Because I think, remember who your audience is, that, you know, community members or students will be in diverse workplaces, and, you know, everybody may not have that diverse background, and so they're going to be working with people from international settings, and they may not have come from a diverse setting themselves, and then they may be responsible for working with people who are from diverse, and they may not understand each other. So you as a leader have to now work with people who may not think like you, and so how do you make this all come together? And that's difficult.
But you're always working with people who don't think like you.
Yes. Right.
Especially in leadership, only because, again, you're at the point where different views are being able to be expressed, and you quickly learn that everybody around that room, from their variety of experience, has different views. You get into groupthink when you all have similar type of experiences, and thus, when you're looking at diversity, when you're looking for gender and race and national origin and religion, only because those definitely provide for differences of experiences. But socioeconomic backgrounds, which region of the United States or international did you grow up. When our students experience that, because in the classroom, the faculty are diverse, the students are diverse, they leave Wichita State with additional experiences that benefit them, so that when they go out into the workplace, when they go out into the world, they understand at least some aspects. You're always in a state of learning. So as you gain more experiences, your views of the world broaden. And I would say that, you know, those of us around the table probably didn't think the way we thought when we were 20. And so we've grown in that because of our experiences, because we've done things and go, well, that wasn't a good thing to do, and this is a better. So we learn from our mistakes, and that's the whole point, is that we try to benefit our students of the knowledge collectively, so that they don't have to repeat the mistakes. They can actually advance beyond what we've been able to accomplish.
I think Tony's right. I think it's a misnomer that you have to look like someone to understand them. But I do think that it is natural, if as you are raised, you are only exposed to people who look like you, think like you, that you're going to respond to them that way.
Absolutely.
And as Tony said, the more educated you become, and experience life and have training opportunities. That is part of being a leader, is to expose your staff to training so that they do learn how to think differently, how to understand other cultures. And Marché was talking about the importance of us having a diverse student body. And part of that is making sure that our faculty and staff positions are also diverse, so that there are some feelings that when you walk on this campus, you can find someone who looks more like you, and you learn others as you experience that campus life.
Now, what have been the benefits of having diversity on a college campus, and what have been the challenges of having diversity?
The benefits are enormous. You were talking earlier about international students. Think about the exposure to the world that our students get by such a nice portion of our population being from other countries, whether it's their culture through food or through family orientation or just understanding that the world is bigger than Wichita, Kansas. And the same with people of any. Our team recently went through an understanding of other generations because we have the 20-something coming in and we still have staff who are in their 70s. And they don't look at the world the same, but they can work together so beautifully as they grow to understand each other.
Because that's what's going to happen in the workplace.
That's right.
You're going to have people who are going to be different generations, and then how do you work together? And so what tips would you provide for those students who may come into that setting? What kind of tips would you give them? Because that's what they're going to be encountering when they go into the workforce.
Absolutely. And some of it is an openness to understanding the other way. This generation is much more technology savvy, for example, but it doesn't mean that they are working with people who are antiquated. So it's understanding that they have wisdom, and many times they're quite savvy technically as well, if just given a little bit of training and chance, but they weren't raised with a computer, so they didn't come by it so naturally. But I think patience and understanding and tolerance and truly learning the value that each individual brings to the workplace.
Very good.
And we cover that in the course studies that we have in ethnic studies, dealing with diversity. We cover the workplace, personal, being out in the public, and what do you do when you are faced with adversity? You address it. And that's what we teach in the course study, that you address it and always ask questions. If you're not sure, don't assume.
Very good. Thanks for sharing.
And the thing that we teach our students is a sense of inquiry. You should be curious. You should be exploring and discovering. When you come across somebody who's a different thinker than you, it's an opportunity to explore. And so students who shy away from that, we haven't completed the process with. In a sense of, we want our students to kind of understand that questioning. Questioning is always good. Learning is always good. And the encounters is what will then help. So when our students go out in that world and they do experience different people, different thought processes, it's important that they go, I might learn something from this person, and take that approach and actually do learn. So our students, and Elizabeth put it there, one of the things I really enjoy is that they share their culture with us. We don't expect our international students to come here to become American. We want them to be who they are and to share their culture with us as we share our culture with them. So it's.
But you all are painting this wonderful picture as though it sounds so easy. I want people to agree with me when I'm in a leadership position. I want them to agree with me and just do what I say. And and then just.
How did you get into that leadership position? Because that's not the way it works.
Exactly. So again,
you're going to be faced with challenges. Dr. Stevens can talk about that.
You're not. Everything is not going to be cookie cutter. It's not going to be A to Z, a walk in the park, if you will. You're going to have to communicate. That student or employee, regardless, in the campus community, you're going to have to communicate. Ask the questions for clarity. Ask for follow-up. Agree to disagree. And understand that that is okay. I think sometimes students may feel like that's not an opportunity, they can't do that. Staff may feel that, but empowering your staff and your students to have the conversation, okay to disagree, but have an understanding about different viewpoints, where they're coming from, why they're viewing it this way, or if there's a way that they think that could better fit the circumstance, then talk about that. But respectfully agree to disagree. You're not going to always agree on everything, but then try to figure out which way is the best for that particular situation, or student or class or employee or whatever the circumstance may be, to make sure that there is some understanding, and be okay that there may be differences, because you can learn from that. They provide different perspectives from wherever they may have come from, thought process, experiences. That all kind of brings into your leadership role and what you do and how you operate, and you grow and learn from that. And I think that can go both ways. from the students and from the employee staff side.
And I think if students and faculty staff, but students especially, need to know what resources are available to them, because an 18-year-old who has not experienced discrimination or hardship and all of a sudden faces it may not feel as comfortable talking directly to that person.
Right.
So we have resources, as you're sharing today, that they need to feel comfortable going and saying, and they might find out that they're misinterpreting the situation. So that can be a factor too.
That happens a lot, perception. People thinking what I thought you said and what you meant.
Very good.
And sometimes in different cultures, what may mean something to you may not have meant it to me. And then you have to always go back and say, what did you really mean?
Yes.
A lot of people won't do that.
That's
They'll just
right.
take it and run with it. And then that's when you have all these issues
That's
that
right.
come about that, okay, you're not diverse or you don't understand my culture.
That's right.
And then it's just, you have this whole big gamut that now you have to go back through and redirect and re-educate. And sometimes some don't want to be redirected, some don't want to be re-educated. Those are the ones that you put to the side and you worry about them later. But get with those who need to be known now. So, yeah.
And I think that's important even for getting out amongst the community, just even from a Title IX perspective, to educate,
Yes.
to go into the classrooms, to attend the deans and VP meetings, to attend classes, to meet with student organizations, staff senate, faculty senate, things of that nature, so that they are aware. So for instance, we were running the Title IX campaign, and so it's still ongoing through the end of June. And so it's an inclusive piece so that the entire campus has an opportunity, to have submitted Title IX campaign, but then also for the entire institution, the campus community, to vote on what they would like to see. So how we can promote, how we can provide some resources and information to our campus about various issues, topics, where to go, who to go, just to add another branch, if you will, to provide resources to our institution.
Good. Now, as leaders, how do you seek out diversity in your own staffs or as leaders? How do you do that? Because it's easier said than done. So how would you do that from the top, since you all are in leadership positions? Because I think for students or community members, it's not easy, because what happens is you're mostly in your own social circles, in your own networks, and so it's hard to expand that out. So any tips or advice for how to do that as a leader? How do you expand to those circles or expand those circles?
You always, I always will say, you create opportunities, because it's not so much that you go out and say, I want to hire a diverse person. No, you want to hire the best person.
Okay.
And that's, it's always, it's
Absolutely.
all about qualifications.
Yes. Right.
What you want to have happen is that the best person, as they come, over a period of time, represent a diverse community. You do that by two ways. One, you have to have a welcoming environment. You have to have an environment so that when you bring somebody in, that they feel comfortable in that environment. So if you make an offer to them, they say yes.
Good.
Worst thing that happens is you say, make an offer, and they go, I don't want to be there. I don't feel comfortable. So you have to establish a welcoming environment.
Very good.
And that's not something that's artificial. So
That's right.
it's genuine, and that takes time, and that's what we're working as a university. The other thing is to create those opportunities such that of the pool that is applying, you have a diverse population, which means that if you only use your network, you will get people who are very much in your network.
Yep.
So you have to leverage other people's networks.
That's right.
You have to leverage your network. If you have an opportunity at a conference to make new friends, make new friends that represent opportunities to yourself and to your operation. So if you only make friends out there and you expand your network only to people who look like you, who think like you, in the long run you won't have that diverse network. You won't benefit.
That's right.
So I always will tell folks, time is limited, your resources limited, choose wisely, broaden your thing so that when opportunities arise, you have the possibility of doing just that.
That's so
Because
good.
you always hire the
right.
best person.
That's very
And to
good.
piggyback off of Tony,
good.
that when we invite people and offer them job position, we just don't put them in a conference room and just leave them. You know, you just don't take them the first day, and you just don't take them out to places. You want them to be welcome.
Yes.
You want them to understand that we are glad that you're here and that you selected us
Right.
as well as we selected you. It should be a win-win situation. But our problem that we face most of the time, that we get people here and then we don't treat them fairly,
Exactly.
or they view some points out there that they're not happy with, and then they move on to go somewhere else.
That's right.
Then we spend a lot of money and time with search committees
Yes.
and bringing people in, and then we lose out. So that's why, you know, now that we're on search committees, we make sure that that's the right candidate. If the candidate pool don't have a minority in it, that was just how the pool was. But there's someone there to monitor and man that okay, if somebody come back and say you didn't have a minority, well, it was not one in the pool. And what do you consider the minority? We had a woman. What do you consider the minority? You know, we had a man, so who are you talking about? You know, we have to make sure that we stay on the up and up.
Right.
And that's a lot of the reason why we lose good leaders,
That's right.
because they move on to go other places where they
Yes.
think that it's more welcoming.
I
But Wichita State is a welcoming university.
Yes, it is.
I'm here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. And we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
I can't agree more. And again, we have resources that say if we advertise in these different journals, we'll get a more
Yes.
diverse pool.
Yes.
And I think we have to do that.
Yes.
That's critical. But that won't get us
No.
the candidates who will come and stay. And I was thinking of an example. Last week I was told about a staff member who is gay, and one of the questions asked, not in the interview, but after the person started their job at Wichita State, was, well, do you have a wife and children? And he was offended,
Yeah.
but the person wasn't poorly intended. They really weren't. They were trying to be welcoming. So again, it goes back to training
Yes.
and exposure and awareness, so that people know
That's right.
what to ask and when to ask it, and how to feel a way that people feel embraced.
Yes.
And you have to embrace them.
Yes. Exactly. So are there any last comments that you or advice you want to give to students or community members about working in diverse environments, in diverse settings? Because I think that's really important about giving these little tips to community members about what to do. Because
Don't be.
Go
I was going to say, don't be afraid to ask the question.
No.
Don't be afraid to seek out mentors or individuals who have traits or have had experiences that you aspire or that could help encourage you in your new role or what have you. I think sometimes students, and some of my former graduate students would often say, well, I'm not comfortable going to a leadership conference. Will you come and can you connect and you know people? And I said, well, at some point you have to take a leap of faith and take a step out and just introduce yourself. I said, you may be the only one going to a conference. I said, that was me for many years. I said, but you have to take that time and be confident in yourself and say, hello, my name is, and I attend this institution, and this is what I want to do, and what do you do, and how did you get to where you are? Ask the questions that you can kind of glean some information that you can apply to your own life and where you want to go with that. And then stay in contact, communicate, call, email, text. If you're in the area of which persons you've met at a different conference or at another institution, connect. Keep the connection going. It's a two-way street, but definitely keep connected, because you never know where the circle will come back around again. And so I think that's important. And just be confident.
I think that's a really good point about getting out of your comfort zone. So if there are populations that you have never interacted with, going to conferences, expanding to the gender and sexual minority populations, or just even poor communities, just going and visiting communities that you've never gone to, embracing those communities and inviting them in, because again, we have the university can sometimes be seen as an ivory tower and not embracing certain populations, and we need to reach out.
And I say, and I made mention of conferences, but like you were mentioning, in your own home court, if you will, take a step out to meet individuals that you haven't met here on our own campus, and make sure that you stay involved and stay connected.
I think Natasha used a fabulous word, and that's confidence.
Yes.
I sometimes I'm not confident, but you wouldn't know it because I'm just going to be confident. And that is a wonderful quality that we could instill in our students, to accept who they are and walk into that room and extend their hand and show confidence. And not in a cocky manner by any means, but just confidence that they're where they're supposed to be.
Yes. Very good. Thank you.
And to piggyback off Elizabeth, is just to know that leadership is important.
Yes.
But people know the glory when they see you.
Yes.
They don't know the story how you got here.
Yes.
We too in this table had to learn and take some nicks and bruises on certain things to get us to this point. But those what we call character building days.
Yes.
So we have built character
Yes.
and we have built leadership.
That's right. And we thank you for your leadership.
Remember that it's always a growth opportunity. So again, it's about interacting with folks, and it's an understanding and appreciation of other people. And I think the confidence is clear. I mean, you have to have a belief that what your views are important, and they contribute, and they are of value. Don't let somebody make you think less of yourself. At the same point in time, as you think of yourself, hold others in that same esteem.
Absolutely.
And that's
right.
Then all good things happen.
And that's my whole aim, is that all of the students and community members will be in leadership opportunities to make a difference. All people are leaders are made, not born.
Absolutely.
And these leaders, the students will be leaders and will have the opportunity to make a difference. And that's what I wanted them to be able to do. So I really thank you all for this wonderful panel on leadership and diversity. You are phenomenal leaders on our campus, and I just want to thank you for that. So thank you for joining our leadership and diversity panel. This is a wonderful opportunity to learn about leadership, and we thank you for joining us.